popped up, they've called you the residential trade.
Really?
I want to know, what is that about?
New York, New York!
Good enough, black is better. And if black is reigns supreme, and I think they know that.
As a straight person, fam, I feel like they be moving, they be dancing their ass off in the ballrooms.
I want to personally thank you on camera. See what I'm saying? For all the work you're doing, you know. And I'm gonna do my best to use my platform and my God-given abilities, you feel me, to educate the public specifically on not only HIV treatment, but also I think that what's going on in terms of access, opportunity, and resources as far as it goes research and science and the improvement in terms of general welfare of black folks. And, you know, for me, particularly, you know what I'm saying? I got a particular neck. You know what I'm saying?
This is kind of like a vlog, I guess, but not really, because I'm gonna be doing a lot of reflecting on being able to talk to Dr. Fauci, being able to talk to a lot of individuals that's been impacted by AIDS and HIV that are living with PrEP or living with, you know, different type of proactive or preventative, or, you know what I mean, they already have contracted, you feel me, HIV, and being able to kick it with people, being able to put a face, a name, a breath, a heartbeat to a lot of the conditions that's been very pathologized throughout our life. I feel like I used to always hear the idea that, you know, something was gay as AIDS. When I was growing up, I never understood the correlation between the two. When I got in college, I started learning more about heteronormativity and learn more about homophobia and about how when the politically and socially, when the AIDS epidemic first hit off, that it was very prevalent, LGBTQ plus IA plus community. And I also know that there's been a complexity in the way that we talk about how this virus is transmitted.
This video is made in honor of Dr. Stefan Wallace. He's the individual that made sure I was present here at this HIV conference. He's also the individual that brought me into the fold. I was able to learn more about treatments for the prevention of HIV and AIDS, as well as being able to, you know, deal with after somebody has tested positive for HIV and AIDS. Dr. Wallace was an individual that was very lovely to be around, breath of fresh air, very, very down to earth, you know what I'm saying? He had this little switch on him that his code switching was so impeccable that he had these ways of being like real spicy with you know what I'm saying? In some instances, maybe. Never with me, I seen with other people though. Or, you feel me, being very like caring and very, you feel me, soft, you know what I'm saying? And though he was caring and soft and he was being spicy, it wasn't what you wanted. You know what I mean? I'm really gonna miss Dr. Wallace. We were talking about a lot of ways that I was gonna be partnering with him and not only the work that he's doing within the AIDS and HIV, you know what I'm saying, research and things like that, but also doing something with the Mark Jacob House, man. Shout out to the Mark Jacob House. I was gonna get my first ballroom experience messing with Dr. Wallace, man. So really, when I got the news that Dr. Wallace had passed from Martez and Jennifer, I really was like, I was kind of off guard, really. Originally, I knew he had a stroke, so I thought he was going to be able to, you know, kind of bounce back. And, you know what I mean? I didn't expect him to pass away. And he pretty much was placed in hospice and he was gone a little after that. Life is very, very precious. And growing up in Texas, it was this UGK song I always heard about one day you're here and the next day you're gone. And usually when I see somebody, or I'm chilling with somebody one day and then literally a week or two or a day after, you feel me, they pass away, it's a song that really come to mind. It's a song that really, really, really sticks with me a lot. Shout out to Dr. Stefan Wallace. I really appreciate you, brother. You're going to be missed. You were a real one to the movement, not only to, you feel me, the movement of black liberation of black people, but also, you know what I'm saying, the movement of being able to find cures and better treatments for HIV and AIDS, and really learn about vaccination trials and learn about, you feel me, different ways you go to communities and talk with them. Dr. Wallace spoke with me about his experiences in South America and in South Africa. And what I really appreciated with him is that because he's from the community, he was able to account for all of the communal distrust. You know what I'm saying, when we started talking about indigenous people and black people being used for scientific reasons and progress. You feel me? Like Dr. Wallace was really a real one. You feel me? Like I really it's taken me a little while to just process, you feel me, everything that I've learned from him I only know bro for 2 years. You see what I'm saying? But the conversations I was able to have with him, they're gonna stick with me for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know.
Thank you for coming and being a part of this. I think it's been helpful for me. It's been transformative to see you navigate this space after having watched your content, interacting with you on the panel that we had you on before. And you know, I think that this is really an opportunity for everyone in the community to really embrace the idea that research is a place for all of us, and there's so much opportunity here. Whether you decide to ever participate in a research trial or not is a personal decision, of course, but there's so many other ways that you can be engaged in the work.
Agreed.
So many other ways. And so learning about research, learning about how it's done, and more importantly, ensuring that the research that is happening, particularly the research that's happening in Black and brown communities, really speaks to us and reflects our needs, our priorities, and our issues.
Yeah.
I didn't know Dr. Fauci was almost seen as like a revolutionary in the AIDS, HIV community, specifically for how he was able to use his platform and authority to get, I think it's the Reagan administration, to pay more attention to how this virus was spreading. And I think that he was the person that was able to get a lot of individuals to give a damn. Hearing him speak about how the coalitional work, the collaborative work that a lot of scientists do throughout the global, you feel me, community, how when political things happened in America from 2016 to 2020, that it impacted the collaborative relationship between specifically America and Chinese, you know what I'm saying, scientists and things like that. And Dr. Fauci talked about being able to work through multiple different administrations and how he never had got death threats and things like that until Trump was in office, because how Trump was trying to get him to use his authority as an expert to push non-expert, like, you know what I'm saying, information. So when we talking about drinking bleach or taking whatever the thing he said or looking into the sun, that was very interesting. Being somebody that's born and raised in Bryan, College Station, Texas, I'm a first generation college student. I'm born and raised in that Bible Belt. I learned that there was a lot of things that I have to still unlearn, and a lot of things I'm still ignorant to based off of my own privilege and being cisgender and being straight, as well as being born and raised in that Bible Belt. I think that when we start talking about like biphobia, and we think about how a lot of bisexual people, especially bisexual men, get seen as being very inherently filthy and dirty, and you know what I'm saying, just always disease-like. I think that the stigma that came from the AIDS pandemic was one that was able to really influence a lot of people's predispositions on being homophobic. And for the people in the comment section, man, when I say homophobic, I recognize that some people want to make it where the word phobia only going down to fear. When you look at the definition of phobia, however, it also has the word aversion. And a lot of people that have aversions towards homosexuality and or people that are, you know what I'm saying, spaces and people that are seen as being same gender loving or homosexual, it's still a phobia if you have an aversion. And what I know is that politically, socially, economically, the homophobia in our society, it literally impacted to how this community was able to be, you know what I'm saying, dealt with in terms of seeking care. I also realized that being one of few straight people in a predominantly queer space is one that is very revealing, and not revealing of them, revealing to myself. This is not the first time I've been, you feel me, in a queer space. I've been to many gay clubs. I've been to, you feel me, different festivals or conferences dealing with gay people. I've been to Pride before a few times. I've been, you feel me, I guess a minority in a space. One of the greatest things that I was able to chew on for weeks and weeks and weeks after leaving this conference was how much I had bought into the dehumanization of people that have AIDS and HIV, and how much not only how ignorant I am to it, but how I didn't have really meaningful relationships with anybody that I knew that had HIV and AIDS, and being able to talk openly with people about their experiences, about the process they went through, and learning and saying how to live with AIDS or HIV, and acknowledging that these two are separate things, you know, was very captivating for me. Being able to eat food and go dance and go party and talk about research and power and domination with not only trans people and gay people and straight people, you feel me? It was dope to really sit with people and really have a real conversation about HIV and how you had to look at yourself in the mirror when you learned that you had HIV. And if you come from a religious community, how your religious community was able to justify what you were experiencing based off of you falling out of the norms of a community. You know what I'm saying? And then really being able to speak with people from all throughout the globe that were living with HIV, something that really impacted me. I was talking with people from South America, from Europe, from Africa, from Asia, I say, you know, but the point is that me being able to see how global this virus is, it caught me off guard, man. It caught me off guard in a way that I feel like it shouldn't have. Being able to recognize how much AIDS and HIV has been correlated to the LGBT community, I was kind of disappointed in myself that it took me being 32 years old and being invited to a HIV conference for me to learn some of the information that I had. And I think that I feel like I should have been able to have a desire one way or another to do my own digging and make it where I could have been already knowing this and already kind of spreading this information.
And it was astonishing to see the amount of Black people uniquely in just doing the work for HIV and AIDS that really had amazing things to say about Dr. Fauci. I didn't know that he was one of the trailblazers, as you would say, in being able to speak about what we need to do as a country and through policy about HIV and AIDS being a global health crisis.
So yes, this is Rudy right here, and I'm just curious, man, for the people, you know what I'm saying, as a trans woman that's in the 50s, how do you feel when you hear people being like, that's that new da-da-da-da-da-da, and back in my day, and it's like, you in your 50s, you existed then, correct?
Of course.
So let us know.
Well, I normally don't respond to people who talk about what they do back in the day, because that was back in the day. So we need to just focus on what's happening today.
You heard it here, folks. Rochester's finest. Rudy.
Yeah. This has been a very learning experience. Every time you've popped up, they've called you the residential trade.
Really?
I want to know, what is that about? As a straight, can you educate me?
Oh, wow. So, what is the trade? So the trade is someone who is masculine presenting. They typically may have more loose clothing on. They have like a certain presence about themselves that gives like straight vibes, but they may be gay. Yeah, but I think for me, I'm definitely not the trade. I'm a gay man. I loved it. You can bring it on over here to me, please. Okay.
So is it fair to come to the conclusion that when they referring to you as trade, they being shady, they throwing shade? Is that what that? Was that shade, or did I overread that? I'm trying to learn. Education is elevation. I'm always learning that.
I think it could be. It would only be shade if I took it as shade, and they would never throw shade my way. You know, they wouldn't be that. They wouldn't throw shade my way. What?
This is Doc.
Don't play.
Doc.
It only
Doc,
shade.
Listen,
Don't play.
Doc,
listen,
hey, Doc,
the big
hey,
one,
Doc.
not the little one. So if anything, I'm the trade because I'm playing games. That's the real T right there now. Okay, so trade.
Hey,
yeah, that's it right there. So
Hey, on my mama, in the
Yeah.
past 2-3 days, the type of conversations I've been privy.
yeah.
The number one rule about trade is they don't know they trade. So if the trade say I'm the trade,
Hey, hold on, dude.
See, that's the problem. You all caught me as trade, but I never claimed trade. On the video, I have never claimed trade. If they can't take, they can't take.
You know what I'm saying? You see me on the live right now. You know what I mean? Right there.
This is a Gen appreciation video. I want to thank you personally for teaching me so much about all the advancements in HIV treatment. I want to thank you so much for all the meaningful conversations that we done had in these past couple of days, goddamn. And hey, listen though, I want you to introduce yourself to my followers
and let us know where we can find you at, you know, and anything else you want to, you know.
Hello everyone, I'm Jennifer Barnes Balenciaga. I am the director of a fellowship that is specifically built for Black and brown women, men, and genders of non-conforming, non-binary identity. A national one. I'm based in New York City and done work out of
New York!
And done work out of Atlanta. So,
hey, really, she didn't put me on so much game. When I start talking to y'all about HIV and the advancements, I credit her.
Hey, when I tell y'all this weekend, this shit.
G say she gotta go handle some business real fast, you know. We got him right here. Y'all see him.
We out here.
Shout out to this black woman right here. You know what I'm saying? You been dropping jewels too, you know.
No.
Hey, this person really didn't taught me something this week, so I wanted to really be able to show y'all the people's faces and hear their voices for the people that's impacted me this week. Yeah.
Appreciate that. Nola Hype, HYPE, Healthy Youth, Prevention and Engagement and Education. We support New Orleans youth health and wellness, research, community engagement, primary care. Got a clinic at Orleans and Broad, right across from Zulu. Yeah, come see us.
Yeah.
Anything you need.
Hey, Tulane, y'all watching this? I'll be on the way. He told me now, so if I don't come, blame him. We got you on the camera, man.
So I'm Kenyon Farrow, like public health activist and journalist. Here at the HVTN meeting.
Come on now. Yeah. One of the many meaningful people I've met while being at this conference. Very, very important for me to show the black faces in this space.
Oh, for
a lot of times, what happens in research, I think it gets convoluted to all being about whiteness and white people, and then the work of people like you gets diminished. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure.
Or it makes it where you have to be responsible for white folks indeed. And it's like, hey, fam, I put blood. Come and be about my work.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
and people also don't know in these spaces, like myself. Like I'm not a medical doctor or researcher, but people don't know that there's a lot of community folks who come to this space and actually participate and hold the research accountable. So when people hear about research on the outside, they don't know a lot of black people have been in these spaces, including black researchers.
Since the beginning, too. That's what I learned.
From the beginning, leading the work. So
I appreciate y'all.
Anytime.
We need more of that in the community. You know, we need more education, we need more conversation, we need to be more open-minded, we need to listen. So, that's what it's all about. ATL.
Hey, shout out to the ATL.
150 deaths per day. It always engenders a lot of energy in lessons learned. A book came out last week that was written by Philip Zelikow, who brought together about 34 people from our community, people that we know, not all the kinds, but many of the people we know, to just ask that question, what went right, what went wrong. I actually didn't bring 34 people together, but I wrote an article that came out 2 weeks ago in the Journal of Infectious Diseases called Pandemic Preparedness and Response Lessons from COVID-19.
Pro-black, centering blackness, this, that, and the other. If you really say you for black people, you should be for black people in all our textures and all our various positions, and not just the ones that the way you want it to, or not the ones that believe in the God you want us to believe in. It's usually how I lean into it. We all have a shared understanding that white supremacy is bad.
Yes.
So your thinking from a sexual or gender standpoint is linked to white supremacy. I think that I have made a stasis point or met you at a middle ground to show you full of shit, or to show you you're replicating shit that you know isn't bad. If I can ask you the question, is white supremacy bad, and you able to not even hesitation say, yes, it's bad, now once I'm able to give you an analysis to how you understand sexuality and reproductivity and productivity, capital P, or whatever is tied to white supremacy, I think that I have illustrated to you that the way you think about that is replicating something that you know is bad. If I'm able to show you the ways in which you understand gender roles and the way that you understand gender, and I can link it to white supremacy, and we already have a shared understanding that white supremacy is bad, I feel like I got you there. You see what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, shit, my name conscious
consciously, I came into this from a pro-black conscious standpoint. From Umar Johnson, Hidden Colors 1, Hidden Colors 2, that was shit I came into. I can be really understand, like that's what I came into consciousness at 19, 18, understanding. Now at 32, I would be willing to take Tariq Nasheed and Umar Johnson to task when they talk about the way in which gender and sexuality operates in the black community. So if you think that shit is inherently on some Willie Lynch, buck breaking, the white man is this, that, and the other. Yeah, exactly. So if you believe that a black man being assaulted equals now your sexuality is changed, then I think that you have a fucked up idea of sexuality.
That's insane.
Well, if you believe, does the prison industrial complex exist? The correct answer is yes.
Right? That's literally what it is.
If we can acknowledge that gendered violence happened at the prison industrial complex level, and you tell me that your brother come home and say he was sexually assaulted in a prison industrial complex, and as a result now you question his humanity and sexuality, I think that's bogus. See what I'm saying? So hold on. So you not French?
Right. Black people don't embrace intersectionality either. Like, I don't think enough black people realize
because
that.
I think the thing we have to understand is that one of the functions of blackness is that it serves to relegate people to second-class citizenship. Like blackness as a function of society globally serves to, it's one of many other functions that serves to demarcate melanated bodies as other than. Oh, really, when you kind of think about black people not being able to engage with intersectionality critically, right? And the irony of this is that intersectionality, right, was coined by a black woman, right? And so you would think, right, intersectionality being coined by a black woman, that black folks would inherently be able to engage with it. We live it, and what I also know about our realities based off of the history of white, capitalist, Eurocentric global imperialism and how it has showed up in the Western world of the United States today, is that, child, that's a privilege that just we can't be afforded to as black. That essentially us being able to actually critically engage with it to an extent, right? And that is changing. I think is a function of, and it's in a sense it's antithetical to what the purpose of blackness was originally intended for, which was to serve as a mechanism of dehumanization, right? And in more recent days, relegation to second-class citizenship, right? Otherness, which means poorer health outcomes, less access to generational wealth, so on and so forth.
Of like black empowerment within that, because you kept saying that like it was intended to dehumanize, but it's like we reversed that with black power.
We re-owned it.
Right. So it's like, as much as like they try to say it wasn't good enough, black is better, and it's black is reigns supreme, and I think they know that. Whether you talking sexually, whether you talking athletically, intellectually,
this guy,
yeah, black is better. Like, so
these last 2 or 3 days, you feel me? I've been the residential token, you know what I'm saying, straight.
The history of HIV and AIDS in American politics is a complex and multifaceted one. In the early years of the HIV/AIDS epidemic, which emerged in the 1980s, there was a significant lack of political attention and response to the crisis. This virus primarily affected marginalized communities such as gay men, intravenous drug users, and people of color, and discrimination and stigma around that disease further hindered an effective political response, because we know how easy it is for people to get lost in the sauce about how they already feel about these exposable communities. During the early years, there were instances of government inaction and slow response, with some politicians downplaying the severity of the crisis. The Reagan administration in particular faced criticisms for their delayed and limited response to the epidemic. It wasn't until 1987, several years into the crisis, that the President Ronald Reagan publicly addressed HIV and AIDS. However, there is also notable that political figures who championed awareness research and funded HIV/AIDS, one significant advocate was Representative Henry Waxman, who played a key role in pushing for legislation inaction and securing funding for HIV/AIDS research and treatment. The 1990s saw increased political attention to the epidemic with the introduction of important legislation such as the Ryan-White Care Act in 1990, which provided support for the HIV/AIDS care and treatment. Additionally, The Clinton administration implemented initiatives like the National AIDS Policy Office and expanded funding for HIV/AIDS programs. In the more recent years, there's been bipartisan support in addressing the HIV/AIDS epidemic and the creation of the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief during the George W. Bush administration in 2003 played a crucial role in addressing the global impact of HIV and AIDS, particularly in heavily affected countries in Africa. Overall, the response in HIV and AIDS in American politics have seen progress over time with increased funding, awareness, and legislative efforts by challenges such as stigma, discrimination, and access to health care to continue to be key issues on the ongoing fight against the epidemic. I also want to acknowledge that when we think about Africa and AIDS, that there is also a big way that pathology and the perpetuation of disposability is placed on to that community and that country based off of how we view them as being always disease-like. Some major takeaways that I had from this conference and being able to be around these amazing people is, first things first, though I consider myself as being an ally to the LGBT community and being very educated, I was very ignorant and lost in the sauce of ignorance when it comes to how far in advance HIV and AIDS treatment has gotten, not only from really getting into the mechanisms of PrEP, but also thinking about the undetected, therefore untransferable, therefore the E, the U equals U, and just recognizing how heteronormativity allows for us to view different communities as being exposable and disposable. And I learned that this had a huge impact on public health and public administration, specifically when it comes to making policy for people that are experiencing AIDS and HIV. Be very impacted and inspired by a lot of people, man. Another random thought is I was really honored to be recognized by so many people at that conference. I'm a country boy from Bryan, Texas. And though my town is like growing up, I think Bryan had about like 70, 80,000. We only had one high school. See what I'm saying? That's the reason why I say I feel like I was, you know what I mean? Real country though, definitely. But to go to a place like Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, and people recognize who I am, especially for the work that I'm doing, it means a lot. Especially when it can be mutual and somebody say, hey, man, I see you and I see you how you see me. Thank you. And it's just like, just those priceless moments for me really be when I know the work I'm doing is impactful, it's in the right way. I'm comfortable in my masculinity. I'm comfortable in my sexuality. I'm comfortable in my manhood. So I never feel like I have to pander or pontificate to my fellow cis het man or trying to prove how masculine or real or man I am. You see what I'm saying? Like I like to do what make me happy, and you feel me? What, you know what I'm saying, brings pride to my family. You feel me? My wife, my kids, my daddy, my mama, my grandma, and I feel like shit, I ain't gonna do nothing that don't make me happy. And usually 9 times out of 10, if it make me happy, it ain't gonna bring nothing crazy to my family, man. I hope in doing this video that it is able to give a lot of humanization, a lot of consciousness, a lot of really like understanding around how we can be a better community, not only with individuals that are impacted by AIDS and HIV, but also with the communities that are heavily impacted by, you feel me, AIDS and HIV. When a person tests positive for AIDS and HIV, there's a community and a family that is impacted. I hope so. I also acknowledge that there are a lot of people that's in the streets right now that don't have families and may be dealing with HIV and AIDS. I also want to acknowledge that there are ways in which people can transmit the virus through non-sexual acts or through non-drug using. That's very important. Yeah. Hey, now I'll be real with y'all, man. As a straight person, fam, I feel like they be moving, they be dancing their ass off in them ballrooms. You know what I'm saying? Like what the bar, I don't know. He even taught me how to, you know what I'm saying? I was asking him about like the voguing. You know what I'm saying? He taught me some, you know what I'm saying, some stuff, you feel me? So it was cool, man. Martez and Jennifer, I apologize I couldn't be there during the memorials, man. I know y'all been in touch with me since it's happened, and I apologize it's taking so long for me to speak on this, man. thank y'all for welcoming me in with open arms, letting me feel comfortable, allowing me to feel comfortable, and really allowing me into y'all space, allowing me into y'all conversations, allowing me into, you feel me, just the insight, you know what I mean, about not only y'all work, because y'all really put blood, sweat, and tears into forwarding the research and forwarding our understandings about HIV and AIDS, but on like some like black people, like I really feel like y'all really, I don't think y'all ever know how much the conversations that we had impacted me. You know what I'm saying?